Yo, it's Monday, so you know what that means. It's time for another episode of Marcus in the Man Cave with my beautiful, amazing co-host, Miss Janelle Mayfield. How you doing?
I am wonderful. Happy Monday, everybody.
Happy
Happy
Monday.
Monday.
Happy Monday. It's the last Monday in Negro History Month. We are just proud to have two wonderful, beautiful sisters join us today. If we wouldn't mind introducing ourselves.
Well, I am Venetia Brown, and this is my lovely daughter. Go.
I am Deja Brown. I attended Howard University.
Whoop,
And I currently now work at Barnes Jewish Hospital as a supervisor for the laboratories on night shift.
Yes.
And if you guys don't know, Barnes Jewish is the big hospital here in St. Louis. It's the one, like, if I get something happen to me, y'all don't send me to St. Francis and all the other ones. Send me to Barnes Jewish. Send me to Barnes. I don't care how long it take me to get there. Just get me to Barnes.
Right.
So that's amazing, and a Howard grad nonetheless. So you're always welcome here.
Thank
Now, Miss
you.
B, I got to tell y'all about this woman here.
Keep it clean.
Oh, I'm gonna keep it real.
Or maybe not.
I'm gonna keep it real clean. This woman is the wife of one of the most genuine human beings
Oh,
I've ever met on this planet, and I can't wait to do a show on godly marriages because I really want to do one this year.
Oh, cool.
They have to be a part of it because when I tell you this man is the type of man, I know I'm not trying to not talk about him when you hear, but this man would literally give you the shirt off his back and then go out in a field and pick cotton by hand and sew you another shirt just to make sure you had a spare. That's the type of man he is. Like,
Hey, I like that.
my
Yeah,
car has broken down before, and he stayed with me all night to get it fixed. Like, he's just that type of
Aw.
dude. He's never gonna
Yeah.
leave. And he has no limits to his kindness. Cause like stuff that be making me want to kill somebody, he just be taking it in stride like it's nothing. I'm just like, bro, they just disrespected you. He's like, no, they'll get it back later. I ain't worried. Like, he's just a good guy. But this is his wife, and she's just as sweet. And she's the epitome of behind every great man is a even greater woman. Like, when I met her, I was like, oh, now I understand. I really get it.
Appreciate that.
Finally,
Thank you.
So what do you do, Miss B?
So, retired from the Navy in 2008. I can't believe I'm saying it that long. And I work at the VA. So I manage the Fisher House program where we support veterans and their families. So I'm kind of honored to do that. And I'm glad you said that about my dude because he is, I can say a lot of things, but he's just a straight up dude as far as he will do anything for anybody. So I want to make sure I give him his props and just proud of the dude.
Yeah, he is absolutely amazing guy. But how long have you and the dude been married?
Listen, man, it's going to be 33 years this year. And so
30.
we are just excited about celebrating that kind of Black love.
Definitely Black love, Black history. I mean, shoot. I always tease with DB. He's been alive long enough to, witness all these events in Black history. So he just be teaching. I be joking about.
See,
No,
bro.
look, he been in what 30, 34 years going on. Like this man has
Mhm.
like so every problem I have, he just looks at me like, you'll get over it. Like you'll get he's like, it's not the end of the world. So no, he's like a surrogate father to me, and I really appreciate him and everything.
Oh,
We have a lot to get to today, and we literally only have like
Let's do it.
one topic. Like, and it's
Let's
crazy.
do
But
it.
before we get to that topic, I do want to bring something up that was on social media during the week. There was a teacher who decided to enhance the curriculum, so to speak, for Black History Month by, I guess her classroom has two doors, and she decided to label one whites only and colored entrance to, as she put it, allow her students to experience more fully the time period of the civil rights movement. And so my question is, are we here for that? Or do we think she took it a little too far and she could have taught this in a different way? We'll start with our co-host Janelle, and then we'll move around.
I actually don't see anything wrong with it. I know that when I was younger in school, they had us go to the Holocaust Museum, and I had to see kids with their limbs broken off and a lot of crazy stuff, but that is their history. And I didn't see exactly how she, like, used it or how she used it in a lesson or something, excuse me, but I think that making people uncomfortable is something that we just need to do. It can't be that we are going to allow a group of people to completely erase our history, and that's literally what they're trying to do. So if there is a teacher who is trying to make a statement, and I mean, I would have loved to have seen the sorry, I would have loved to have seen the that was my sister. I would have loved to I would have loved to have seen, like, I probably should have read more into it, but what her lesson behind it was, but I don't see anything wrong with it. When I was a student, I loved things like that. Like, I was more into visual activities, like sitting there listening to someone talk, I would wanna fall asleep. I would have wanted to see how she put everything together. So, no, I didn't really see anything wrong with it. And how old were the kids?
Elementary age. Yeah.
Like, elementary age, like what?
What happens when the little mixed kid comes up and he's just like, I don't know what door to go through?
That's
If
a
his
parent
parents haven't
problem.
had that,
Ooh.
That's a
I'm
parent
just saying,
problem.
if his
Yeah.
parents haven't had that talk with him,
Yeah, because I mean,
Mhm.
I think about the books we were reading in, like, 6th, 7th, 8th grade. We were reading To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, we were
Mhm.
reading some deep stuff,
when the
and
A
I
word came
mean
up and the white guy was the one reading, he looking around the room just trying to make sure he don't get jumped. Yeah, I mean, I can agree. Now, Miss V, we already got a question for you. You starting out the show strong.
period.
Uh,
Uh-oh.
my man Winfrey, he was on the show a few weeks back. He
Okay.
said 33. What's the key to 33 years of marriage?
Hey, listen, it is compromise. It is knowing that a marriage takes work, right? And so when you it's easy to walk away, but you put that cape on, bro, when you can walk through it and not walk away and remember that um we're a team. So the battle is out there. It's not in the house.
I like that. Battle is out there and not in the house. Unless you watching Grey's Anatomy and I want the TV. Then the battle is in the house. It's in the house.
Why Grey's
Yeah.
Anatomy? Why did that come to mind?
Anyway, Miss V, do you have a problem with the doors in that school?
I like what Janelle said. At first, I was like, wait a minute. And so, I at first I did have a problem with it, but I just say this: continue the conversation. So we'll do a visual, we'll acknowledge on February, and then after that, we kind of drop off. So the kids have more questions, right? And you bring up something. I want to hear some more about it. But
Okay.
Janelle kind of changed my mind on that. Yeah, you need some visuals.
Hi,
All
Amber.
right. Brent Williams has a comment. He says some of our parents and all of our grandparents went through that. They're only 2 generations removed from that, so it's important for them to see that. Okay, I understand that. I'm sure the school district did come down and make every teacher remove all of their decorations for yeah, it was a big
Now
thing.
see,
They removed all decorations from the
Who
school.
complained?
They said so the district said it was never in the curriculum or allowed for teachers to be decorating their rooms anyway for this month. So, but the school had just been doing it for so long that it just was a thing. So now the district is aware that it's a thing. So they're like, nobody's supposed to be doing that anyway. So nobody can do it.
Okay,
I
well,
hope they feel the same way on Halloween. That's what I want, because we go all
right, we
ham
shouldn't be
for
decorating any door
crazy.
at any
Yeah.
time then.
Yep.
Miss Deja, how do you feel?
So I would agree with what Janelle said as well. I think I kind of would take it from a different angle. I don't know if you all have seen Jane Elliott's Blue Eye, Brown Eyed Experiment. And so I think it would be interesting. And granted, they are elementary school, so you kind of got to be leery about that because you don't want them to walk away with the wrong message. But it would be interesting to see if the white door was the obstacle door and the black door was the easy access one, and so kind of spin the narrative a little bit just so that they could be aware of what others might be experiencing. Because I mean, there's still remnants of those sorts of obstacles or circumstances that kind of keep you further back. I mean, they're very present still. So yeah, I like the demonstrations and visualizations and seeing things in real time. So I'm with Janelle. Yeah.
Definitely, if you haven't YouTube, just go YouTube it. Jane Elliott's Blue Eyes Green. Was it Blue Eyes
Yeah.
Brown?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Blue Eyes, Brown Eyes. Yeah.
It's a very poignant look at racism without being overtly racist,
Mhm.
and how people just quickly change their attitudes when they're
Absolutely.
in the power versus when they aren't. Like even as children, that's how easy it is for the
Mhm.
human nature to change.
Mhm.
It's a really good thing. I personally looked at it and I was mixed, as you were, Miss B. I was like, do we really need to go that far? Because I can see someone going home and saying the wrong thing, and then now it blows up and the message gets lost. But at the same time, my dad was born in 1937. So he lived through all of that. So I'm only one generation removed from it, due to him just still having it when he was in his 50s. I don't know how, but I'm in the
Hey,
I'm
listen.
doing good. I'm doing good.
Oh, sorry,
Um,
sir.
but yeah, so hearing his stories and what he went through, like having bricks thrown at him when the
Oh.
school bus wouldn't pick them up, like they would throw bricks out there. Like if all you have to do is worry about some paper painting over a door for one day out the, or even for 1 month, if that's all you have to deal with, you can't use one of these doors. Are we really traumatizing the kids?
Right.
Mhm.
Or are we teaching them that this was a existence for people all over this? Um, like from being 3/5 of a human being to now, like I feel like there's so much that we're losing in between, especially with them trying to erase our education
Mhm.
and our stories. So kudos to that teacher. I'm sure they probably had some disciplinary action, but you sparked the conversation, and
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
so yeah, I'm proud of you for that. So you get Black.
Right.
There we go. Now let's get to business. As the Black preachers say, I promise I won't hold you long. But
Hey, you know what that really means?
we have to
All
talk,
day.
Miss. What's her name? Risa Tisa, or is it Tisa? Risa Tisa.
Risa.
Risa. Yeah. She had the world in a grip for like the last 10 days, man. On the TikTok. I don't have a TikTok. I'm a government employee, and that's not a good idea for me to have TikTok. But all of it was on TikTok. But luckily, someone was nice enough to post it all on YouTube in 2-part series. And I ain't gonna lie, when I saw part 1 was 1 through 30, I was like, oh, ain't no way. Ain't no way. But as I got into my bubble bath,
Come on, bubble bath.
the time started elapsing, and you just turn on the hot water again to get it heated up, and the story kept going.
You are so simple.
Hey man, it's the simple things in life that make
I
me
love
happy.
that. Listen, I love that for you.
So let's take a bubble bath.
Yes, come on now.
Yeah, but shower before you get in the bath. Shower before you get in,
Do it after.
because you don't want to skim the top of that water. Be skimming that water, when I'm
Finish
the funk of the day. But anyway,
the story.
Keep us
But
on. Keep us on.
but yeah, I saw all those parts. I was like, there's no way I'm gonna get through this. But Miss Reese is a great storyteller. So
Yes,
that,
she is.
but the story was so outrageous. Like, this can't be true. Like, there's no way. So I hope everybody out there knows what we're talking about right now, because we're gonna try to just dig into this story a bit. So I'm gonna ask the ladies here. I just wanted all ladies today because I just need y'all to explain this to me. And we're just gonna start from, what was your overall what did you take, like what did you feel when watching this? And we're gonna start with Deja. Like, so when
Wait,
you
should
were
we give us some? They're asking for.
a summary.
I
Oh,
can give a really great summary.
I don't know. Let me try to give y'all, if I missed something, please forgive me, because it was 500 minutes long. Miss Risa matched with a guy on a Facebook dating, I think she said it was. On her way to the first date, she
We
blows
call
up
him Legion.
Legion. We're gonna call him Legion. If you get the biblical reference, you'll laugh at that every time.
Right.
Yes, because they are many. But yeah, so she goes to the first date. She blows out her tire on the way to the date. She calls him. He comes to her rescue, basically helps her get a new tire. And this is right before COVID, so they've been knowing each other for 2 weeks at this point. When she decides to keep dating him, they decide to move in together. during COVID, and then just straight uh, the
You
worst thing imaginable can happen. I don't even know how to explain
I'll summarize it
you
anyway.
surprised. It's
She
just
gets
Come on,
pregnant.
Jeanette.
She gets pregnant by this man.
there you
And then unfortunately she ends up losing the child. They do get married, and for a long time, he's paying all of her bills. He says he's going to get her a new car. He's going to get her this. He's going to get her a new house. It never happens because, long story short, this man is a pathological liar. He has some mental illness, and he lied about everything. He lied
yeah.
about his job. He lied about how much money he had. He would act like he was on the phone, and he would be talking to nobody on the other end. He lied about his family. He is a liar, and he ruined her life. But the thing that was dope was that I think she told it from a very I'm holding myself accountable place, but we'll get into that. But that's
Oh,
Mhm.
we're gonna definitely get into that part because that's my part of the story. But Miss Deja, I wanted to know, how did you feel hearing this woman tell this story? Did you feel like, dang, this is the worst thing possible? Did you feel like, how naive can you be? Or did you like, what were your thoughts while listening?
I mean, it's definitely all of those things because on one end, it's disbelief that somebody goes to this length with the lies and can uphold them and recount them so well that you can keep it up for a year with a very intelligent woman. On the other end, hindsight is 2020, but I did feel like, man, you never did X, Y, and Z. That never made you think twice or made you question a little bit deeper. But I think at the end, ultimately, I felt sadness, but also really great pride that even through her sadness, even through the difficulty of reliving the story, telling it publicly, and then processing those feelings as you're telling them publicly and receiving comments about what you've said publicly. I was really proud of her for being so candid, so being able to be held accountable for things that would have otherwise been embarrassing and should be held within. I was moved by it, I think is one word description of how I felt.
Okay. I definitely agree with you on that. Most of that. Trev says that some people lie for no reason and you'll never understand. And I forgot to do this at the beginning of the show, but happy birthday, happy 40th birthday to Miss Kristen Howard, who's been round of applause for her.
My
She
girl.
celebrated her 40th yesterday. So happy birthday. I hope you did all the things that you wanted to do. And Kristen says no reason, and then they believe themselves while they're lying. So that is crazy. Miss B, how did you feel?
So I will say, I used to tell Deja when she was young and she always wanted to get out of high school because girls were so petty. She wanted to get out of junior high because girls were so petty. And I said then that, we are the same petty. We just wear bigger clothes until you get to know who you are. And I think even through her naiveness that she says, I think she, at the end of the day, it wasn't a waste if you learned something. And I absolutely believe that she knows who she is now more than ever before. And I think that she showed up well to the people, to the million of people who was listening, because that's a lot. She said that this was at one point she said that this was almost like therapy to her. And I imagine how much therapy it was for other women. And I don't want to say especially Black women, but I will say because we stain so hard everywhere, right? Even the language that we use, if we say Black something, it always has a negative connotation to it. But I believe that she stood in her truth and it made her the better Ford. That we can do things that may not look like we have put our best foot forward, but we win at the end because we learned and we grew. So that's what I would say about that.
I like that. Now to my co-host. What'd you think?
I thought that was a testimony. I think that number one, it was vital that it came from, I don't like to use the term normal, but it wasn't like this aesthetic, perfect person that we see on the internet. This was a woman who has been through some things. And the best part is that she came out of it. Like, I talk to so many people who are still just miserable. They're just sitting in misery, or they're doing the same thing over and over with the same person, and it ain't working, and they know it's not. But this woman possibly saved some people, and especially from someone who, I was in a very long-term relationship, and it was unhealthy for a long time, and I couldn't tell you why I stayed in it. I could not tell you why, but to hear this woman speak the way she did, she was very real. She was very strategic in how she told the story. She was very respectful, even to this man who really ruined her life. I applaud her. If I could see her right now and hug her, I would thank her for being able to tell such a wild story in a place where they could have eviscerated her. They could have ripped her to the point where she never came on the internet ever again. But like, I don't even know this woman, but I love her and I appreciate her, and I would love to meet her one day just to say thank you.
So yeah, I had DB says happy birthday, Kristen. Shout out, I'm sure he's watching this later tonight. I felt the same way. I said, okay, one, you're incredibly strong to come out and say this, because so much of this does not make you look good. And that was my struggle watching her. And I'm a guy, and I know that love makes you do crazy things. But my dad always used to tell me God is going to do one or two things. He's going to either let you have what you want, or he's going to give you what you need. And I really think in her telling the story, God gave her so many signs that she just blew past. And I think that's a problem when we're starting to get older. We're in our 30s. And for those of us who aren't married and things like that, we're starting to feel that pressure of when is my time? Like, when is my time? And we start accepting less. And girl, when your tire blew out on the way to that first date, God was trying to intervene with you, like let you know that this probably ain't the guy you need to go see. And then from that, you go to the pregnancy and losing that. While that may seem like, and she says it in her story, that may seem like the worst thing that ever happened to you, God helped you dodge a bullet on that. And sometimes he takes our tragedy and turns it into triumph. And I think that's what a lot of that was for her. I just had problems with some of her naivete, because you let this man take you to how many houses and you weren't done at a certain point, like the driving past the job, and you weren't done. Like, how many times? Can you convince yourself? Because for me, like it just wouldn't take that many times. Like, and that's why I struggled. I was like,
But your end goal isn't to get married.
I know.
Your
No, but
main focus isn't to get married.
my
It's
dating,
different.
if I'm dating for marriage.
Right, but I'm saying you have more of a clear mind. There are some people who, like, especially to me, the way that I was raised, like, you get married, you have children, like that is what you're supposed to do. And a lot of people, like you said, when you hit a certain age, especially women, and in my opinion, especially Black women, we not only feel like we're missing out, we feel like we feel like failures. Like, I don't have a husband, I don't have a child, I don't have this, I don't have that, because like, I really wish there was someone that like just sat with like a very large group of Black women and just dug into our brains, and maybe it would make more sense. But I completely understood why she stayed in it for so long. I completely understood.
I understood why she stayed up until a certain point, but when it got to the point where she clearly knew how bad the lies were getting, it was just at that point. Yes, I know you don't want to look stupid to your friends. You don't want to look like, but at a certain point, you're just driving yourself through hell at this point. Nobody else has the wheel but you. And so that was my struggle with her and hearing her story.
But what about
And
him? What
yeah,
about
no,
He
he's
was
not.
paying
No,
all.
no,
He was
he was
still paying
no,
all of her bills,
and
her
that was
rent.
my next
She
point.
wasn't paying for anything.
That was my next point.
Okay.
Being financially, first of all, financially literate
Come
is
on,
huge.
Trevor.
Because had she been financially literate, the house stuff would have been figured out so much faster. And that's the thing we don't teach in the Black community is financial literacy well enough. We can talk about all these Real Housewife shows. We know all the gossip going on, but when it comes to stuff that actually matters, I feel like we really lack in that area. And then for her to tie herself, I understand that she probably wasn't making a lot and everything, but she tied herself to him financially. Which, when you're married, yes, things become one and you share those things. But so early, she tied herself in financially and got blinded because a lot of men who are narcissistic and like that will use money to blind because men know that if I start paying all the business stuff, she's gonna be like, "Oh, I've never had a man to do this," or like it's rare for men to be doing that, especially that early in a relationship. And so for women out there, I would say be cautious of how a man uses his money in a relationship because money equals power to a lot of men. So if you fall under that so quick and you start letting him pay all your bills, best believe you're going to hear about that. Or that's going to be his first go-to. And if you get too comfortable with that, you end up losing yourself to it. That would just be my view as a guy. But Janelle, I know you had a rebuttal to it.
Not a rebuttal. More so just a thought that I feel like you get so used to someone. Like it's like they're just a part of you almost. And even when you're going through it, and a lot of people say, like, just you go push through these things, like this just obstacles, you can make it, you can do it. We don't know what her circle was saying. We don't know what type of village she got around her. Like my former roommate, she always said, we don't know people's story. We don't know her story. We don't know if she may have been insecure or, had a traumatic life. Like it wasn't just that she was being naive. There are probably a ton of factors as to why
Sure.
she's saying this, but there isn't a feeling of attachment. Because even when I was with my ex, I knew I didn't want to be with him. I knew it. I was so over him. We had been together for 5 years. At one point, I did think I was going to marry this man. But all signs led that like this was done. And I stayed in it for an extra 2 years. And I look back and I'm like, why did that? Why did I do that? Because of the thought of him not being there was scary. Even though I didn't need him there, I was so used to it. It was just like a feeling of abandonment almost if he wasn't there.
Definitely. Miss B?
I just want to say, and I know this is your show, but I want to ask you, as a man, what do you think he was lacking that he would have to
soul.
Right.
He was lacking a soul.
Yeah.
And obviously, from her descriptions of this man, you can tell there is something seriously mentally wrong with him.
Yeah.
And that was what was, when I say it was hard for me to hear her saying these things and for her not to have put, and the thing is, she put 2 and 2 together. But she didn't, it was like she was refusing, and I'm sure it's out of love, out of that, like you said, being used to him being there. She put 2 and 2 together, but like refused to accept the answer to that question.
And in the name of love, right? Sometimes you do, you try to get out of your own head, and like Janelle was saying, we don't know her story. So for a lot of Black women, when you don't have that role model, that example, because she talks about her mom a lot, she talks about her aunt a lot, but she doesn't talk about her aunt and her uncle or mom and her dad. And so I just wonder, she did say that she wanted to be married. And so sometimes people fall in love with the institution of marriage more than they fall in love with the man that they married. And if you don't have that role model to show you what's healthy, you kind of say, well, we just need to figure it out, And so and he is to the extreme, and they did mention that he had some mental health issues, but I'm talking about a general liar
Yeah.
from a
About
man's
wild
point of
stuff,
view.
though.
Like I'm talking not mental health. I'm just talking about for no reason lie. You
We got a
know.
we got a good comment here.
Yeah. Well, let's hear
He
it
was
because I want to
he
know.
was also lacking a home, income, friends, and reality. Because boy, the things she found out blew me away.
Yeah.
Can you imagine someone walking around the house on the phone? There's nobody on the other end.
See, that's what was hard for me too. It's like when I'm dating someone, I know where you work. At a
He
certain
knew
point,
where he worked. No, he didn't lie about where he worked.
he lied about his
About his
position.
position.
But at the
Yeah.
same time, I've at some point I feel like I've dropped you off at least once, or I've done something like I've seen him or come to the company at potluck. Like
Well, he
I'm
did.
that
Yeah,
way.
he went to the job. Just so happened, the main security guy that wasn't on the phone wasn't there to let him in. You know, and so as one of the elders here, it's not mighty wisdom. You learn by trial and error.
Yeah.
You learn by watching other people and say, this is not what I'm going to tolerate, yada yada. But love is love for real. And so you really, you know, it's easy to look in and say what you would and what you wouldn't. But when you're in that situation though, and all these other factors play into it, you'll be surprised that, what sounds right to you. And
That's
so
that's the Deja.
I agree. I mean, I agree that there were signs that were missed, but I think it's also in her storytelling. So it is her story said in such a way that you can grasp that she missed all these signs, because she could have framed it to where he was just
Yeah, she could have just said this.
You know what I'm saying?
Like, she could have really blamed everything on him.
Yeah, and so I think our advantage is having that interpretation and that growth from the experience to be able to point it out easily. Because had she been telling it in real time, it probably would have been as convoluted and confusing as it was for her in the moment.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? So I agree with your perspective, but I also think we have the advantage of hearing it after 3 years worth of processing and dealing and coping and sifting through this statement and that one, and going back to journals and audio journals and looking at paper and receipts of information that he laid out. When you have it all in front of you, you have a clear picture. But when you're seeing a piece here, a piece over here, this look kind of like it could be an edge. The puzzle picture doesn't come into focus as clearly.
Absolutely. Kiara Welch says, this man said he had access to the company jet or whatever flying. He did. But see, this is the thing, and this is why I said if God ever blesses me with a daughter, I know for a fact I have to make sure she knows about like buying a house and mechanics, car mechanics and stuff. I like to fix, because if you don't understand money and things like that, people can take you for a ride. And it's not just the boyfriend. It could be the bank. It could be the mechanic down the street who said you need a whole new this. You don't really like. There's so many times that men will use that against you because they assume you don't know. Now, the whole piece of paper with the $750,000 on it. Did she not know that when you are approved for a loan, there's a time limit on that approval? That it's not good forever. And first of all, who prints out stuff anymore? Like, who prints that out? The bank.
Somebody that's gonna prove to you, show you something, and people want to see it, and see it in writing.
And that's the thing. He shows it in writing, but then when he asks you to look at the accounts, he won't let you, and you believe that you still believe.
Yeah, that is the one thing that got me. The fact that he wouldn't show anyone proof of anything. That I think was the only red flag where I was like, "Girl, there's something
Now,
wrong."
now
Thanks.
wait a minute. He did show her one
Yeah, a
account.
checking and a
It was a
savings. He didn't
screenshot.
show the offshore.
He didn't show the
But
offshore.
he would.
or
I'm
the
talking about when
savings.
he wouldn't show to get a
Yeah,
house.
the
He
But
would
savings.
show other people
But
these
I think that
accounts.
could be a pride thing, because for a second, and that's to your point about the financial literacy and knowing about the process of buying a house. For a second, I could see his point. We gave you 24 hours for the offer, and their counter offer was, we want to see your proof of funds. And so with that, especially being a Black person
Fair.
saying, I got $750,000,
Yeah,
but let me see it.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna show you. And so I could see that stance, but then to your realtor, to your wife, honey, now
It was
sounds a
everybody. I was like,
I mean,
And
it
in
sounds crazy.
2021 was a seller's market. If you were selling a house in 2021, you was getting paid. Like,
Yeah, you were.
you were,
Yeah.
and this was without tours, without inspections. There was just
Yeah.
lack of inventory. Like the house I bought when I moved to St. Louis, I paid well over what the house was worth.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I sold it and made that too. But
Yeah.
got it good. But like when she's saying she sees these images, she sees these accounts, these are all printouts.
Yeah.
Like
Screen-
screenshots and printouts. It's
Mhm.
like, you never noticed that it was always the same amount of money in there? Like nothing ever dipped or flowed.
Yeah, you never asked for a swipe
You
up.
never
Let me
go for
see
a
the
swipe.
rest
Let me
of-
see it on the app. Let me like it
Yeah.
was like and that goes to it. I feel like she wanted to be, and this is my idea, not speaking for her, because I do not know her, sorry, but almost felt like she wanted to be married so bad that she was willing to overlook it just to say that she was married. And that
But
just
I
goes
think,
go ahead.
I think also that willingness is also kind of mixed in with, like, in your circle, who lying about $750,000 if you ain't got it? We don't know. I mean, I don't know that many. I mean, I know quite a few, but I don't know that many liars that lie to that degree. And so it's also just like, I don't want to walk around not trusting anybody. And so if I don't have an example of that being the norm that you lie about, I could see that being like, well, I want to believe, like my mom said earlier, wanting to get out of your head to make way for opportunities. Because sometimes we're blocking opportunities because we're in our own way. And so it's a tightrope walk of how to be vigilant and aware, but also not too distrusting or doubtful of people, because then your engagement with them isn't best quality.
Not too many men is going to wrestle with your manhood. You know, they're going to come in saying, although you may have a conversation about being vulnerable and, you know, your past relationships, I'm not going to wrestle with your man for years. So you are either going to have to trust me or you are not. And so I think some of that played into what she was actually dealing with. Not to mention, it wasn't like he wasn't making something, because he was paying all the bills. You know, they got married and he did have a ring. And so, you know, it wasn't like he wasn't making something. And so, but it's the deception. You know, once you are that deceptive for nothing. See, that is for us, for nothing.
Yeah.
Because you didn't even give me a chance to fall in love with the guy who works at McDonald's. You didn't give me a chance to.
Right.
You start from you lie from the jump. So that deception.
And that's what hurt my feelings about her, though, because she knew before she married him he was lying. And
I think she
No,
said that
I don't
she
think
knew
she knew
something.
before they got married.
she said she
she
knew
knew
before she got married. She
something.
said, I knew. She said, I felt like it was going to be trouble. And then after we got married, by the what did she say, the end of that month, I knew I was in trouble. She knew. She already knew that something wasn't on the up and up. That's why she couldn't tell her friends that she was going to get married, because she knew that they were going to probably tell her.
No, remember now, she said she didn't tell her friends or her family because they were due to get married before and it didn't happen. So she didn't want to have the whole explaining about the marriage thing and all of that, if it didn't happen again. And so, I mean, tomato, tomato, we can do that. But I just think, um, in love like that, it's just not that black and white.
Let me read these comments real quick.
It's
But the accounts, this is from Leslie Washington, an old church friend from back in the day. But the accounts he showed her, but she should have strolled or asked to see his deposits. But Sister Girl was so afraid to prove him wrong for some reason. Um, Brenda Rodriguez says, "Great show to us. Thank you. We appreciate that." Then again, Leslie says he just gave her an illusion that they were going somewhere more, but the proposal was a dead giveaway as well. Yes, let's talk about that
Yeah.
proposal. Janelle, actually, we'll go with Miss B first.
No.
It don't matter. We'll go with you first, Janelle. You didn't have nothing to say on that
No,
one. Janelle, you and Trevor sitting at the table, and he slaps the ring down and says, "You know what this is?" And it's like, well, and that's how he proposed to you. You accepting that proposal?
no.
Okay, Miss B. DB came home back in I don't know when it was, but when it happened, he
yeah,
said,
that's kind of how it was.
"Oh, it was like that." He
That-
just slapped
hey,
the ring
I was
down.
gonna say
Listen.
different. You have to understand different strokes for different folks.
Listen, and
Well, tell
and
us
I
the story then.
and I say for real, because what brought us together, to be honest, corny and all, what brought us together, besides God, of course, is what keeps us together. We laugh all day, every day, until it ain't funny. We have those moments, but that's what brought us together, and that's what keeps us together. So he was not, he did kind of get on the knee, but it wasn't like your traditional, let me get the family around and do all the things. It was kind of in a joking manner. And listen, um he joked and I jumped. Let's do it. Let's do it. And so really that is how it happened. And against all odds, right? So when we first got married, we were very young. By virtue, don't get married at your first duty station. We got together at our first duty station. If you want to stay married, don't go overseas, because marriage is overseas. Don't let all of the things, right? And so it's about how you make it work. And I think that that's what she was trying to do in her own way, is make it work. I think. But
got-
whoever marries this beautiful one right here, yeah, they gonna have to get bended knee, all the flowers, all the things. Yeah, all the things.
Okay. So I guess Deja, would you accept the proposal that way?
No. But that's just me. Not even a little bit.
Not doing it, not even a
I
little
mean,
bit.
we see awful proposals all the time. The amount of proposals I see on the internet where like the girl's in a gorgeous gown, and her hair is done, her makeup is done, and the guy has on a t-shirt and some jeans.
Yep.
Like, match my fly. Why are you playing with me?
Yeah.
We got some other ones. John says, "Good evening, free blacks." Chrissy's no, it was Delilah says, "I'm telling you right now, I ain't got it." Yawande says, "I have to go watch this thing."
Yeah.
And John says, "Ashanti would have left me if I did that." Absolutely. I just don't think that I could even bring myself to propose like that. If I'm ready to spend the rest of my life with you, I got to show that at least a little bit in the proposal. I feel like there's got to be some kind of thought put into it. I'm not saying it has to be extravagant. I do think that we have been a little bit. Social media has kind of made us feel like we have to do way too much. Like, and we're starting to fall in love with the act of marriage and the act of proposal, and not the person that's actually putting the ring on your finger. And I think that's a lot of problem. We like the idea, but not the journey that comes with it. I think, and that's a lot of the problem. I think Delilah's talking about her ex. Okay, She says, "We went to Kay's, picked out a ring, and put it on my finger. Needless to say, we aren't married anymore."
Oh wow.
Oh, ooh, geez. But that's for the best sometimes. Sometimes for the best. John says Ashanti designed her ring. I purchased and planned the proposal event, and that's how it should be. Brothers, don't go in there thinking that you're gonna buy the right one. Just let them get exactly what they want. Don't.
Actually, not true.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
Y'all
I
on
want
the
to
side of
see
that.
your
I disagree with that.
because it's a gift. You're giving that. It shouldn't be. Yeah, I'm gonna choose
I
you.
think it depends. Like, you just communicate. There are some people that want to be totally surprised.
Mhm.
There are some people that want to plan it and everything. I think it's just, as long as you all are honoring yourselves, who
Mhm.
cares about what anyone else thinks? And that's what I think the biggest thing is. Don't worry
Yeah.
about what anyone else thinks about what y'all are doing.
Fellas,
Mhm.
don't listen to any of this. They don't. They don't mean it.
Yes, I do. Trevor picked out my ring,
Mhm.
See?
and I love my ring. But he was very slick about it. I guess one day I had really been in love with this. I love my ring. I have rose gold chocolate diamonds, and I guess I saw it on a commercial, and he said that my face lit up. I didn't say a word about it, not
See?
at all. But then sometimes,
Pay
Attentiveness.
Exactly,
attention.
John.
yeah, he
Exactly.
took me and he
Absolutely.
said, "Isn't this the ring that you want?"
Exactly, John. John said it best. He said, "She has to wear that motherfucker. Nah, I'm going.
Right.
I want her to
And
like
stop
it."
getting everybody the same doggone ring, please.
What?
There's
How
so
is this
many
supposed to know
different
what
types of
everybody got?
rings.
It ain't for everybody to be worried about. You just
No,
said
I'm
it don't matter
saying
what everybody else
everybody
doing.
needs
Not
to
matter
be
what
the
everybody else
same
doing.
ring.
You
I'm
said it
weak.
don't matter what everybody else doing, but not matter what everybody else doing because we buying the same.
No, I'm saying y'all gotta be. I know y'all have men have
Creative.
really good eyes. Y'all can't be getting the same ring.
And
I
be a
don't
little
wear
creative.
girls' rings though. I don't. Guys don't be looking at
That's
girls' wedding thing. The only reason we look is to check if she's single or not. After that, we're not paying attention.
They're not looking at the details of anybody else's ring except the one you're picking out. If you're not picking
Exactly.
out,
This
I
the
don't care
one
about
we're
what.
picking out is the first one I ever seen.
Yeah, see?
First one I ever seen.
Oh
But
wow. Yeah,
so
that's
Miss
true.
T, you've been in the game. Y'all been in it 33 years. If you had, since this is Black History Month, speak to the black women of my generation. If you had one bit of wisdom to give them while dating, to maybe either keep them out of situations like this or to make sure they have strong, meaningful relationships, what would it be?
I would say, and again, it is not because I came in knowing better, but the phrase, when you know better, you do better. And so I would say, first, love yourself so much that when you hear yourself, you can believe yourself. And so that looks like, I am going to ask you. I don't care what it looks to you or what it looks to the people around you. I am going to ask because trust is a good footing, the best footing to start in. And so I just believe that as you are raising, you mentioned if you have a daughter, when you have a daughter, you're raising her to be financially independent. Raise her to love herself unconditionally.
Yes.
And then all these things will be added to her. And so they add to the love she has for herself. They don't give her the love that she should have for herself. They add to it. And so date yourself. Enjoy yourself. And look for where you want to be. And he will come along. And I pray that you are talking to your generation and the generation behind you to say, man up. It shouldn't be a point where, what are you doing? I used to tell my daughter all the time, if you're working and his response is he's chilling, that probably that math ain't mathing. That math is a math. And so I just think that they too need to have some figures around them. Single parent, get you a mentor from somewhere so that they can learn what it is. I love to see little boys holding doors for their
Yes.
mother, and then you walk past and he still have I love that. Start them off strong so that they can be the helpmeet suitable that they need to be. So
Okay.
that's what I would tell them.
Yeah, no, we didn't know you were gonna preach, but all right.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead, go in. We got some comments. Chrissy says, yes, ma'am. Delilah says, yes, ma'am, Miss DB. I guess. Come on, Maya Angelou. And man, God dang it. All right, cool. Here's a comment. Let me see if I can get it out here. Okay, and that's how you know when your partner is someone that is invested in you, when he does it based off of your relationship versus someone that is like you, with me in mind as well as with me.
Wait, can you read that again?
Yeah, it's kind of confusing, but I think the next part clears it up. When it comes to rings, I think the guy should take her to give you an idea, because
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
watched the guy bring his whole family and future in-laws, I guess,
Oh, that's
to
not
a
right.
jewelry
Ooh.
store, and they kept saying, "Get a big ring," and then her mom called her, and she said, "Get a small one." So they left, and I lost the sale because they wanted to pick it up without her. So, that just seems like a man who never asked his girl what she liked. You just look stupid, I guess. I teach college students. I tell these 20-something men to get it together every day. I feel like a youth pastor.
Yeah, you are.
Yeah,
Train up the child, okay?
down there at Grambling, so I know he's dealing with it. So good job, Mr. Band Director. Keep doing your thing, man. But yeah, no, I think a lot of it too is what we need to control, what the media and the things that our young men are consuming too, and what they think
Yeah,
is
Wanda.
manly. Um, she said, "Yes, date yourself. I'm on a Disney cruise right now."
And I hope you are
Okay.
enjoying it to the
and, and,
fullest.
and you stopped to watch our show. That means something. I
Yes. I hope
appreciate
you are sitting there with your feet up and a drink in your
I
hand.
know that's
That's
right.
it.
that.
I'm very jealous.
But yeah, no, I think we need to, make sure the young men that we have are consuming the right forms of media. Make sure they're learning about a love of themselves too, so that they're not looking for a woman to complete them or be their mama. Like, they need to be self sufficient. Like, stop saying your sons can't, play with play kitchen sets. They need to learn how to cook too. I remember I said it one time as a kid that I was gonna get me a wife that could cook, because my mom was a good cook. And my dad was like, "No, you're going to learn to cook, because when you don't have a woman, you need to be able to survive." And ever since then, I've just
Mhm.
stuff like that. We definitely need to get back into that. Now, Miss Deja,
Yes.
you're a young lady. You're out here in these St. Louis streets. What do you think the number one? Your mom says that we know we need a man up, and absolutely.
Mhm.
But what has been your number one problem, like, going out here in this world? What with the men around?
I think
Your daddy watching. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's gonna be pure. I think
I don't know.
overall it is it seems to be like a disconnect between, like, and I know this is kind of strange to go back to childhood, but I really think it goes back there. I feel like women are kind of taught, like, I don't know, like, coached on entering into relationship with men, right? And while I do think that men hear it, I don't think their manhood has the prerequisite that you have to have a wife. Like, but I think for women, it's kind of crafted like that. Like,
Yes.
you become a wife, you become a mother, but a man can be a man
Yes.
without being a father or a husband
Come on now.
at all. And so I think when you're taught that and those things aren't parallel, then you have like one group who's really looking for certain elements and dynamics of a relationship, and another one who doesn't really need that or require that. And so you keep bumping heads on your goals, on your intentions, on what you're looking for, your desires. And so that's kind of been my problem. I do kind of run into a lot of like chilling type of guys, and I don't think I present myself in that way. I can work on whatever. You know what I mean? I'm not afraid to improve and grow as a woman. But I just think that our objectives are very different. And I think that leads to other disconnects in communication and what intimacy looks like. Like, yeah, sex too, but like, can you be vulnerable? Can you tell me about how you feel, or things that make you feel, or whatever? So yeah, that's my experience.
Well, y'all both just standing up pulpits. We got y'all preaching on tonight. The Brown family just be preaching. Hello, it's in their blood. That's good. That's good stuff. No, so definitely agree. There's a lot of dudes that just be chilling, and also I think dudes need to hold other dudes accountable too, because y'all know when y'all got them dudes out there that's not doing right, playing around with hearts and stuff like that. Like, God forbid one day you have a daughter and it's done to her. Like, stop letting your whole boys get away with that kind of behavior.
Yeah.
Make sure you putting your boys in check when they tripping, and that all comes with just picking good friends. And I feel like if you go back to Reese, she seems like she had really good friends, and I feel like if she had have been more open with them, a lot of this would have been averted. But that shame that came from knowing that this man was that way and not wanting to be embarrassed, I think kept her from telling them, but also led her into more heartbreak down the line. So if you do have good friends, just make sure these are good friends you can confide in if you have to. And sometimes they'll keep you out of mess. Like Michael Newby, one of my best friends, he is talking me out of doing some crazy stuff. And I think that it's good to have those people around. If you can't deal with, like, don't bring your family into your relationship. I ain't saying always bring it, because sometimes that can be a mess. But definitely have friends that you can go to that are impartial and that know you and know your heart's desires. I think that's very important. Miss V, 33 years of marriage. 33 years. I know y'all have had some knockout, drag out fights. What? And I'm sure they're not as prevalent now because y'all just in there now. Y'all in there. Y'all
Yeah, we ain't going nowhere. Yeah, you gotta get jumped out. Yeah,
gotta get jumped out.
you gotta get jumped out.
What brings you? And I'm gonna ask Janelle. The same question goes to you because you're in a younger marriage. I want to see you versus those. What brings you and your husband back to the table when y'all are having that kind of disagreement? What brings y'all back? What brings the love back between?
So,
well, it never leaves, of course.
Yeah. Jokes one. But for us, seriously, we do a lot of marital coaching and facilitating, and in one of our marital sessions, that's God's son. And so if God was there, would you talk to him like that? And so when you put that in perspective, who am I to talk to his son like that? And vice versa. And so the same reverence that we give to God, we need to give it to his children. Also, we give a lot of grace outside the house. The grace should be even the more inside the house. We need to always remember that it's us against the world. And so we try to, when it gets to the point where you yelling, where you said that first, so we missing the problem. So focus on the problem, not on each other, because we're not each other's enemy. So one of us has to be vulnerable enough to say, do you want this to be resolved, or are you fighting for right? And I think that's why we call each other Team Brown, because it reminds us that we're in this together. So I can't be team anything. And sometimes it's out of sarcasm, okay, Team Brown. But it still reminds us, what comes out the mouth, it has power. So it reminds us that we're in this thing together. And so and laughter, and just laughing at each other, because all of this stuff is temporary for real. And so just laughing, and it was something on Facebook, and it was like we said we'd never go to bed mad at each other. and they was like up for like 3 days because they was like, well, I won't go to sleep, but we gonna fix this thing. Those kind of things, man. And we just try to keep it light. Keep it light.
Hmm. Okay. My boy Perez had a comment. He said, "Nah, men aren't raised in the same aspect to have emotional intelligence." Absolutely agree. We're raised to hold it in and man up and toughen
Yeah.
up. And let's be clear, manning up doesn't mean hold your emotions in until you burst. Man up means being able to process your emotions and be able to voice those emotions intelligently to someone else, so that you don't have to go through life being angry at everything that happens to you. And then
Marcus, before you say that, can I just say that is so true? But as women, we have to make sure that we um create a atmosphere for them to be safe to share, because we want them to be vulnerable to share. And then when they share, my mistake, years pass, but when they, and you learn, right? So when they do, no matter how simplistic it sounds to you, that's not the time to say, you mad about that? Oh my God. I thought it was something. No, I'm vulnerable. You wanted to know what it was. And men, no shade, men are not that deep. So yeah, that kind of hurt my feelings that you that you came in the house on the phone. And I keep saying that bothers me, because you always come home, those kind of things. And when you brush it off, you just build up that layer to say, I'm not safe to share, because you thought that was petty and I was being vulnerable. So as women, we have to make sure that we make that atmosphere right for them to stay vulnerable.
you coming back on the show, Miss.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna get to Janelle's answer for this. But I want to read Trev's comment. He said he agreed with Perez. He said many young black men are in survival mode and see people as replaceable. Uh, Absolutely agree. But that's a bigger show, different issue of
You
another
should
show.
write that down.
We need to write that down.
Mhm.
Trev, you need to write that down and then come on that show. Janelle, what brings you and Trev back to the table when he's not sick and you don't want to get sick? What?
Do you mean during like disagreements?
Yeah, when y'all have a little knockout, drag out. Yeah, I don't see y'all fighting like that, but I just can't see that. But
No,
every
y'all just don't know my business. That's number one.
okay, Beyonce.
That's good. That's
Okay,
good.
Beyonce.
So to be completely honest, I would honestly say when it comes to disagreements, I probably take them the hardest. I am a very emotional person, and Trevor is my person. We have a very, very, very deep chemistry. So when we don't see eye to eye, I take it very hard. But a few things that I've been practicing recently, and this is for us, I don't believe that I can give advice. This is just works for me and Trevor. I take timeouts. Like if I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed, because I can get very anxious, I will want to cry. I'm going to cry. No matter what, I'm going to cry. Just, you don't have to deal with it. But I'll say, okay, I need a timeout. And I'm going to go for 15, 30 minutes. I'll either go for a walk or I'll listen to some music or go for a drive. And those have been very helpful because in the moment of a disagreement, to me, it feels like it's like I'm losing you. That's what it feels like. And that may seem dramatic, but I do feel like my person, we are not seeing eye to eye, and it literally feels uncomfortable. It makes me feel physically like not good. But I also am trying to balance that this is not the end of the world. Like we're just disagreeing. We're going to come out of this in a few moments and be perfectly fine. So let me collect myself because we do need to come up with a solution. And I also remember, like, that's my friend. Trevor's my friend, and I don't ever want to disrespect him. He's the father of my son. He is, to me, the most amazing man I've ever known, and I never want him to feel bad. So if I see that, like, what I'm doing is making him feel bad, I have to step back, and vice versa. If he's making me feel bad, he needs to step back, and we just need to, like, reconvene. But you have to talk. You have to talk to each other and be able to say, I don't like this, but make it from your perspective instead of making the person feel like they're doing something wrong. But you have to talk.
Amen. 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 Yes, we're definitely criers.
We are.
Definitely criers. Well, with that being said, I think we have had a wonderful, insightful
Are
show.
y'all gonna come back? Please come back.
We're
You
definitely
guys
gonna
are
have,
awesome hosts.
You're
Yeah.
awesome. This was
Love
we're
great.
y'all.
definitely gonna have. Hopefully, you'll come back because I want you and your husband on the show. For I'm telling y'all right now, all you listeners, we're gonna do a godly marriage like series, and I just want to have couples come on and just talk about their struggles and things they've gone through. Because I think for my generation, we need to hear that is marriage. Because all we see now is people having extravagant weddings and the wedding party, and then we hear nothing else.
Mhm.
And it is like, oh, they're married. That's great. And behind closed doors, they go in 10
What's
rounds.
going on?
Like,
Yeah.
we need to.
Marcus.
No, I'm serious, but
I
that's
know. I'm
that's
sorry.
what's happening. But we don't ever see that, and I think we don't hear that enough from the older generations too. Because a lot of times they just say, "Well, you get used to it, and you just get like." No, tell me what am I getting used to? What am
Yeah,
I getting-
right.
like I want to know what I'm getting used to. So I really want to do that series coming up. So hopefully it'll be after Easter so we can celebrate. But
Yeah.
I think that's when I'm gonna do it. With that being said, Janelle, you got any skincare tips with this weird weather going up and down and everything? I saw Amber said you keep her skin glowing, so share.
Just wear y'all sunscreen. Stop walking around with dry lips. I've really had enough. There's so many ways to moisturize your lips. Vaseline. I don't understand. But also realize that taking care of your skin is not a chore. And not even just taking care of your skin, take care of yourself. Like, take that long shower, take that long bath. Like, take your time, love yourself. That's it.
And drink that water.
Drink that water.
Drink that water.
Don't just be dehydrated.
Man, I hate dry lips. And you're a trumpet player. I know you hate dry lips.
It's awful. Just be, and it'd be like peeling. Ugh.
Yeah, and they be talking about looking like that. If they smile hard, they'll bleed. Like I don't understand.
And be perfectly fine with it.
I mean, not even licking them. Yeah.
Jojoba oil. Okay. Yeah.
Jojoba.
Jojoba. Is it jojoba? I was like, jojoba. They know what I'm asking for. I'm not gonna do that jojoba. But
See.
you know, every show
Oh Lord.
at the end of the show, I gotta leave y'all with a pearl of wisdom.
Okay.
And I don't know who
Uh-oh.
this message is addressed to, but I'm gonna put it in the mail. Ma'am.
Uh-oh, Janelle. You sure?
Your face and your neck don't match.
Oh Lord. Listen, that could be the fault of Sephora.
Told you. Brown cinnamon number 2 was your
Period,
shade.
John. Period.
You see all your pictures at the party with the flash off, and you just look like a Lego piece, like someone just stuck that.
I'm done with you.
Go reevaluate.
Reevaluate. Get 3 shades, y'all.
Yeah, right.
3 shades. Line them up. See.
Jesus.
But wait, can we plug Ye
No.
One Day's dad? Because if he got a whole, I didn't know this. Your
What
dad makes body butters. I want
That means Body Butters. Drop the link.
I
Drop the
want
link
some
in
right
there.
now.
But yeah, that's all I'm saying. Just go.
That is a good one though.
Just get reevaluated.
Yeah.
Go talk to Fenty.
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah, go talk to someone that understands your skin. 'Cause
Not
You are not a copper 5. You are more like a licorice 3. And we need to bring those together. And meld that together.
How
God
did
would
your
not
brain
have
conjure up
you.
those names?
Hmm?
Licorice 3.
You know that, and it always be anyway.
Liquid 3 is what he said.
Go do it. Get reevaluated. We need that to match. And for us guys and dating someone, and we're trying to date you, since we're talking about dating, I want to know what the real color is. What am I going to wake up to in the morning? That's what I need.
Question I really need to ask. How many of y'all have actually have y'all realized that the person you're dating, you've never seen their real face?
Man, and when you see the face in the pillow, and then you look up and see her face, you be like, damn.
I know people who said they would wake up early in the morning to put makeup on before the guy woke up.
Crazy.
Y'all getting this crust,
Yeah.
okay? This bonnet that is probably on the ground.
Someone said, John said nasty work. Licorice 3 is crazy. I'm sorry. I just
Wow.
call it like I see it.
Licorice 3. Wow.
But Someone said a comment. Clinique is also dermatologist tested for the people getting the
Clinique
cheeks
is great. It's
or
a little expensive, but it's great.
okay. And then a lot of the older generations have so many secrets, and that's something we need to unlock. But like I said, I hope you guys have a wonderful week. Remember, God loves you. I love you, and we hope to see you again, God's willing, next week. Peace, y'all.
Real soon. Bye now.